and is presented by the Chumash Casino and Resort. Here are your hosts, Greg Bell and Pep Fernandez.
A heavy dose of the LA Rams and NFL football today here on the Ford Legends Community Show presented by the Chumash Casino and Resort on AM830 KLAA. I'm Pep Fernandez.
And I'm Greg Bell. And guys, you know I've been telling you weeks in and week out, get on by and see these Ford dealerships here in Southern California. The Ford dealers of Southern California are our sponsors here, and not only are they our sponsors, they're legends in the community, guys. And I'm not just giving you a sidestep here. I drive a Ford Energy Hybrid myself. It saves me time at the pump. It saves me money in my pocket, Pep, more than anything. And I'm telling you guys, these are award-winning cars, trucks, and SUVs. Stop on by and take a test drive from one of your local Ford dealers today.
Love it, Greg. We also love the National Football League. And listen, the Rams, okay, they dropped a game against the Buffalo Bills. It's not the end of the world. We're not going to hit the panic button. They still look pretty good despite an offense that's still struggling to score some points. Their defense is still great. Todd Gurley still kind of ramping up, right? What are your takeaways from that game against the Buffalo?
Well, the number one takeaway we got from this past weekend is if you give the ball up, you're going to lose games. This isn't a team that has a high-powered offense right now where they can throw the ball and stretch the defense. So they've got to be able to control the ball, control the tempo, and the most important thing they can't do, Case can't throw interceptions, and Todd can't lay it down.
Speaking of interceptions, you want some numbers, Greg? Here's Case Keenum's numbers from the last game against the Buffalo Bills. 21 of 31, 271 yards. Not bad, right? That sounds pretty good.
It sounds
the two
okay.
Picks. Two picks, though.
Two picks.
Yeah,
two picks. That kind of shuts everything down.
So another thing, too, is finishing in the red zone, right? The kicker, Greg Zuerlein's been great. He usually connects, but you want to finish with 7 points on those drives.
Well, you know, not only do you want to finish the drive, you also want to finish the quarter. I think as you saw the heat was so hot out there this past week. They tried to say it was about 89, 90 degrees. Felt like it was 100. And I'm telling you, as you're wearing down, you've got to be able to close in the red zone because you never know when you're going to have that second opportunity coming, you know, as the game goes on.
So they were missing a bunch of starters on the defensive side of the football. They still did a pretty good job, although LaShawn McCoy went for 150 yards in that game. But Robert Quinn was out, William Hayes, Michael Brockers. I mean, so if looking forward, you got to be healthy. You got to be able to throw the football and don't turn it over, right? I'm not reinventing the wheel when I'm saying these things. Those are keys to success.
Those are definitely the keys to success. And the one thing that they have to really get their mindset right now is getting Todd up over that 4.2, 4.5 rush per carry. I'm just telling you, he's hovering at 3.1, 2.9. And when you're down that low, you put a lot of pressure on that offense to stretch the field. They're shutting the running game down. We got to open it up, and that's where we need Kenny Britt, Tavon Austin to really step forward.
Now, Todd Gurley had over 1,100 yards last season, and not even a full season, Greg. So in his second year, what's different? I mean, you were an NFL running back. I mean, from your rookie season to the second year, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
Well, remember, at any point in time, he can have a breakout game, and before you know it, he's back up over 4. So I don't want to say what's different. I think they've keyed themselves on keeping 8 and 9 men in the box. That's probably the number one thing that's most important for him.
But if they're stacking the box to stop Todd Gurley, somebody's got to be open downfield, right? Keenum's got to find that open man.
Well, you know, not only do you got to find them, you really got to be able to stretch that field. They're sunk in right now. So you got 8 and 9 guys around the box. So you got a lot of man on man. So when you got man versus man, you got to be able to make the big play, and that's what the Rams aren't doing just yet.
Well, who better than Jim Everett to talk Rams offense? The legendary Rams quarterback will join us on the show, as well as Morris Bradshaw, who famously linked to the Raiders. So we're going to talk Raiders today, Greg, on this show?
Because we're going to talk legend community. We're going to talk legends.
So we've got Morris Bradshaw, Jim Everett coming up here on the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on a new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
There's a new game in town. The all-new Shumash Casino Resort. Now bigger, bolder, and more luxurious than ever. Our grand expansion features a dramatic new 12-story hotel tower, spectacular rooftop pool, giant gaming floor, and more. Amazing things are happening at Shumash Casino Resort in the Santa Barbara wine country. The new game in town. Visit ShumashCasino.com.
This is Greg Bell, and I just left Las Vegas and the United Games World Launch Party for their new sports football app. This is the first football app of its kind that lets you interact and experience the game like no other sports fantasy game on the market today. This new sports app will be hitting the mobile market device in less than 4 weeks. If you want to be one of the first individuals to play this exciting new app, text APP to 66866. Again, text app to 66866.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on a new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
KLAA. We're talking Rams, we're talking NFL, and I know a lot of our conversation, Greg, is about this Rams offense. We want to see some points. We want to see touchdowns. We want to see them finish in the red zone, right?
We want it to look exciting. And we're so used to having the greatest show on turf. And when we were out here on the grass, we had probably one of the most potent offenses back in the 80s as well. And of course, that leads me to our next guest, of course. Joining us on the phone right now is former first-round draft pick for the Los Angeles Rams, as well as another quarterback, Jim Everett, my teammate. And, Jim, I got to start this off because we've been just talking about the Rams and what they got to do. But can you kind of give us a scenario of yourself with Jared Goff, because he almost is walking in your footsteps?
Well, Greg, thank you for having me. It's good to hear you out there and still alive and kicking. We're just kind of old guys, man.
We're still here alive and kicking. And I got to say, it is great to see you every Sunday because I see you on CBS as well. I think you're on your way to CBS as we talk.
I am. We've got a nice little thing going on, and it's just good to have the NFL back in Los Angeles. I mean, it's back. Greg, honestly, I was never drafted by Los Angeles. I was actually
you were traded.
Here.
That's right.
So
Houston Oilers.
It was kind of a weird situation because they traded some of Eric Dickerson's best friends away, who were really good, and that made the locker room really kind of tense. So that was, I came in third game, and Jared Goff, you wanted me to reflect a little about what he's going through or going up against. Is that he was kind of they traded some future considerations. Those weren't actually guys that everyone knew, but they will become players for the Tennessee Titans someday, and you can make comparisons all day.
Yes,
but. Let's look at it realistically. Jared Goff, they knew they were drafting a 21-year-old junior out of college. They knew they were taking a young guy, Wentz, if everyone realized was the other guy they were picking. He's 24. He's come in and actually done a superb job. But you know what? If it wasn't for, the situation up in Minnesota with Bridgewater, I don't think we would be seeing Wentz either. So, the fact is some injuries caused some things to happen. Some things played out. Bradford's playing good in Minnesota. Wentz is playing good, really well in Philadelphia. And we're all left here going, what about Goff? And, I'm looking at, here's a young guy that we knew was coming out of a run-and-shoot kind of offense, or not run-and-shoot, but Raider offense, Air Raider offense that I think that he's going to need a little time, and I think that's what they're giving him. And, if you look at it, he should be in his senior year. So let's look at it as a 10-game season. Maybe Jeff Fisher's waiting until he can finish out the final 10 games.
Well, Jim, let me ask you this question: when the pick was coming down, and I'm sure you were glued to the camera just as pretty much every other Ram fan was glued to the camera. When you saw what we gave up to get this pick, did you think that was a wise move, or were we kind of just, or were we crap shooting on this one?
Well, I think the draft is somewhat of a crapshoot anyways, Greg. I mean, heck, I know you were a first-round pick. We're going up to Buffalo, and, you did some good things, and, then you made your way out to L.A. and did even better things. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just the draft is you're picking guys that played in different systems to play in your system, and sometimes they're a great fit and sometimes they're not a great fit. So it's a crapshoot anyway around it. I think it's second-guessing is way easy to do. When all of a sudden you get a certain guy that you think fits in a certain way and, realize that, he may be a 3-4 backer, not a 4-3 backer, and trying to make him down lineman like they did with Kevin Green.
Right.
And, then all of a sudden he's still an all-pro going back in the 3-4 system. So, Greg, I think there's somewhat crystal ball in that. If you want me to second guess the pick to move up, I think the franchise, was committed to that. And was committed to one of the guys at the top, and Goff is obviously the pick. His accuracy is uncanny. His ability to not be phased by pressure is uncanny. Okay. And another thing I would compare him to an Aaron Rodgers. And the reason I'm doing so, but Aaron Rodgers had 3 years to sit behind Brett Favre, and everyone thought he was a bust.
Yeah. That's true. That's a great and I was actually in Green Bay with Gil and those guys when they brought Brett Favre in. Let's remember, Brett Favre was the number one who wasn't starting in Atlanta as well.
Well, actually, he was a second-round pick from Atlanta who was getting in a little bit of trouble at nightlife, and they needed to get him out of there.
We're talking with Jim Everett here on the Ford Legends Community Show. Hey, Jim, this is Pep Fernandez here. You led the NFL twice in touchdown passes, so let's take that information, apply it to Case Keenum now. Is there a quick fix? Is there a remedy on how they can get touchdowns on these drives? Because obviously we know the Rams' defense is going to be strong all season long. It's the offense. They need to score some points. They need to get Todd Gurley going. Is there a quick fix? Is there something you can point to say, this is what they need to do to get this thing going?
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, in your comment about our defense is going to be fine all season if they're healthy.
If healthy,
we're missing 3 defensive linemen against Buffalo. That was a pretty edgy situation. But the offenses, I think Greg can attest to this. I remember, in '88 when Ernie came in, we couldn't click the first 8 games real well, but the final 8 games we did click. And so there's a point in learning a new offense, and they brought in the Peyton Manning passing game through Grow with the Rams. Now, are they getting that right now? No, they're not. Is it starting to show up? I really thought, the Buffalo game, there was some real good engineering going on with that offense. Tavon Austin touched the ball 3 times on the first drive. I thought there was some really, really good things, but they're not there. They didn't finish out the second half the same way they started the game. And that's about belief. That's about learning the system. I mean, we can look right now and look at what Derek Carr is doing with the Raiders, and those guys are believing in their system, and you're seeing the 31 games. You're seeing them be able to come from behind. I don't know if the Rams are at that place offensively yet, and I would say they're not.
Right, and I think one of the things that, of course, I have a heart in this one is that what is your feel about Todd Gurley right now in our running game? This running game is really not putting out the kind of productivity you want to see from an NFL-style offense that really should be stretching the field, but they've got to have a guy who's putting it in at about 4 yards or better. What do you think is the main issue behind the running game?
Well, the running game, if anything, is like the ballet of all 11 guys. I mean, you get one guy get a blown assignment and you get a no gain. I mean, that's Todd Gurley's getting hit way too quick. Way too quick. He's having to bust tackles to get a 2.5-yard gain. So, number one, it's got to start with the offensive lineman. It's got to start with some of the scheme they're doing. It's got the whole setup has to work around what they're trying to set up. And then when you get the running game, you get some alleys, then all of a sudden that opens up for your passing game, or vice versa. And we're not having that. I mean, they're not respecting our deep ball when they're not respecting our pass. So the linebackers and everyone can crowd the line. They can do run blitz stunts and not worry about what's happening in the passing game.
And Jim, Greg brought up a great point that it's all cyclical. You can't throw the ball if you can't run it, and you can't run it if you don't throw it. So it's kind of like this vicious cycle, right? How do you break out of this vicious cycle?
Well, I think you work on execution, and you work on all 11 guys in your production getting on the same page and not having a bust, or it might even be a hat. Greg, you've ran through the holes and you ran extremely well. You see a hat, a shade, or something, you know where to go. All of a sudden, if you're running with question.
Yeah, and I think sometimes they put so much emphasis on Todd Gurley being the backbone of this team. I think you made a great point that it really is a ballet, and we need all 11 guys. And that's a great point to bring up, because every week someone says, well, what about Gurley? And it's not necessarily just about Gurley. It's really about this offense. And let me ask you this question. What do you think about the game as a whole? Because so much has changed. They don't hit like we used to hit.
Well, it's funny, Greg, you bring that up. I was just talking with Jackie Slater last week about this thing. You realize that they only had 11 padded practices before they really got cranked up?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And how can you teach, especially, 5 rather young offensive linemen that we have, and we did just get the right tackle back right after preseason. But it's really tough, just the small stunts, the TE stunts and stuff like that, being able to pick those things up with only 11 padded practices. It's a little bit of on-the-job training, and I think that's where they're at. I think this team is going to be much better at Game 8. I think they'll be much better at Game 12, which I think they're much better at 6. I just hope they're in the ability to go beyond 16.
Yeah, Jim, can we hold you over just for a second?
You betcha.
Okay, yeah. We'll be right back with Jim Everett here on the Ford Legends Community Show, sponsored by the Chumash Casino and Resort.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on a new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
There's a new game in town. The all-new Chumash Casino Resort. Now bigger, bolder, and more luxurious than ever. Our grand expansion features a dramatic new 12-story hotel tower, spectacular rooftop pool, giant gaming floor, and more. Amazing things are happening at Chumash Casino Resort in the Santa Barbara wine country. The new game in town. Visit ChumashCasino.com.
This is Greg Bell, and I just left Las Vegas and the United Games World Launch Party for their new sports football app. This is the first football app of its kind that lets you interact and experience the game like no other sports fantasy game on the market today. This new sports app will be hitting the mobile market device in less than 4 weeks. If you want to be one of the first individuals to play this exciting new app, text APP to 66866. Again, text app to 66866.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on a new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
And we are back here on the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA. We got Jim Everett on the line. We're going to talk more with the former Rams quarterback here.
Yeah, of course, guys, this is Greg Bell. Of course, like always, we're here to tell you thank you to the Ford Southern California Ford dealers, because like I do, you should be doing this as well, guys. Get over and see these award-winning car dealers. They got cars, trucks, SUVs, and you want to try that Fusion, guys. I drive the Energy, this hybrid, high-energy Ford Taurus, and let me tell you what, guys. I'm zooming down the freeway. I'm having a lot of fun, and Pep doesn't believe me, but he's going to take a drive up to the 101 in my Fusion one of these days.
I believe you. I'm just stuck in traffic, so I never see you, but I believe you. So.
All right. Well, hey, we still got Jim on the phone. Jim, you there?
Hey, I am, Greg. Just make sure when he's riding with you, you don't have 15 cops behind and you're ready to follow you on some deal, okay?
Hey, Jim, you know me in cars, man, but I love this Energy Plug car that I drive I've been in this car for 2 years, man. I love Ford for giving me this car. I'm just driving away, having a lot of fun. But, Jim, going back to the Rams, I got to ask you a major question. When you heard that the Rams were coming back, man, you're down kind of southern – you're down in the south side of Orange County. Did you get excited? What was your thought when you first heard that they were coming back to town?
Greg, that's a good question. I think we all were excited. I think during the times we were here, the NFL left and they blamed it on the fans. They blamed it on this. Even the Raiders left. It just goes to show you it wasn't the fans. It was directed at the ownership. I was excited to see the NFL come back and just think of 21 years of kids around here not experiencing the NFL, and I get to see that now more on a weekly basis, and it's just great. I mean, guys running around with girly shirts and all the players, Javon Austin, and they get a taste of not only the Los Angeles Rams again, but all the guys that get to come in. I mean, my daughter cannot wait to see Cam Newton play when they come out here. She's a big fan, and she was just really upset that the game in London with Odell Beckham is going to have to be in London when that was supposed to be our home game. So,
right.
We want to see the NFL.
Yeah, we do. It's great to have it back. We had Dennis on last week, man, Dennis Hara, and he just said, man, I'm just happy I can actually take my sons out to the stadium to see what their dad used to do.
That is so true. That is true. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I actually got to experience a little tailgating too, Greg. Now, I'm not driving around any Ford or anything like that tailgating, but I got my other truck. I won't tell you what brand, but it's kind of fun tailgating tonight.
We got Jim Everett here on the Ford Legends Community Show. And, Jim, was there a disconnect? I mean, for all you former LA Rams, was there a disconnect when they moved to St. Louis? It was like, I really don't identify with them anymore. Is like Greg pointed out, like it's being reignited now that the Rams are back in Los Angeles. Like it feels like your team again.
Well, I think Jack Youngblood was probably one of the keys to that because he felt, and he made it known publicly, he felt like he was a man without a team, and he spoke, because we weren't really included on a lot of the stuff in St. Louis, and I think that's where Kyle came into play, and we kind of brought back some of the old guys, and that's when I recently went back out to St. Louis. But I didn't feel the love like I did Los Angeles Rams. I mean, there's just something about it, and I'm sure on the flip side of that, Kurt Warner being out in Los Angeles probably doesn't feel the love with the Los Angeles Rams. But I would hope that as a fraternity of NFL franchise, that all one Ram Nation can come together, and that no team, even the guys that played in St. Louis, feels like they're homeless. But I can tell you, for 20 years, we felt like it was pretty homeless here in Los Angeles for us ex-players.
Well, let me ask this question, because before we get too excited now, where are you with the San Diego Chargers talking about coming up here to Los Angeles?
Well, I don't think that's even relevant to my being or anybody, the Rams being, or I think that's all business. And I said from the start, I think the Chargers are going to make the move to Los Angeles. They started in Los Angeles. If you don't know that, they came here right after. Then they went down to San Diego and became the San Diego Chargers. I just don't see how a publicly funded stadium can be built in San Diego when they are in financial stress as they have been over the past 10 years. I just don't know how that works. And they've got to find deep pockets, because Alex Spanos is not Kroenke. And this whole deal up here is a pretty sweetheart deal for another team. I don't see how he can pass it up.
Well, how many Kroenkes do you think there are?
There's not. That's why lightning strike with our Rams, Greg. I'm telling you, this is a whole different gig. I mean, and for Los Angeles, without that situation, I don't think we have a team.
Well, Jim, we sincerely appreciate the time. We could keep going and going here, but we got to let you go right now. We appreciate the time, and it was good chatting with you and getting your thoughts on the Rams.
All right, I just can't wait to see Greg strolling up the highway in his car. I'm looking for you, Greg.
Man, I'm in a nice, bright white one, too, man.
All right, I'm looking.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
See you in the game. Thanks.
All right, see you later.
Former Rams quarterback Jim Everett here on the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA. He brought up a lot of great points, Greg.
Yeah. I mean, when you start really kind of edging your pen and start to write down all the key points, I think one of the things he said that I was probably most interested in is when he talked about Jared Goff and the fact that, yeah, he should be a 21-year-old senior in college right now. And when you think about that and you think about the fact that guys like Aaron Rodgers set for 3 years, you don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
Those are things that we don't care to talk about because we only talk about what's in the present. And I think probably as a Ram fan, as a fan of football, you got to be a little bit more patient, especially when they're investing so much of their future into this arm.
Yeah, we're all impatient. I think half the problem is you look across the NFL and you see guys like Carson Wentz, some young quarterbacks having success, and you're like, well, why not us? What's wrong with us? We've got the number 1 overall pick.
Well, then you got to also look at what's around Wentz as well, because think about it. I think I've said it before. I think we need to beef up our line a little bit. We got, like you said, a young offensive line. When you lose 5 defensive players, you got a young defensive line as it is. I've told everybody this is a defense that you're going to want to watch in the future because these guys are only like 25 and 26 years old. They're going to be mind-blowing in about 3 years.
Yeah, the Rams are built for the future. Really, I mean, if you just looking at their age, they're young. They're built for the future, right?
Well, not only are they built for the future, we're trying to appease those fans that they're built for when that new stadium comes up.
Yeah, 2019, right? Everything's ramping up to that year, that season.
It's funny. That's another thing that was kind of funny about Everett as well. He said it. There's only one Stan Kroenke. I mean, this guy is probably the wealthiest of all the NFL owners, but the most amazing thing about the whole thing is that, with this wealth, the guy seems to be very down to earth as well.
He's committed, it sounds like.
Real committed.
He wants the awesome stadium. He wants a winning product on the field. We'll see if that translates to wins. Right now, they're currently 3-2. It's not bad. I mean, if you would have told me 5 games into the season that the Rams would be 3-2, I'd say I'll take it. Wouldn't you?
And they're still in first place.
Yeah.
I mean, let's remember, you got to win your conference first. When you win the conference first, you get to the playoffs. And that's really what their goal is right now, qualify and put themselves in the playoff opportunity. They've already beat the Phoenix Cardinals. They've already lost,
they
of
beat
course.
Seattle.
Yeah, they beat Seattle, and they've already they lost to San Francisco to start the season off at the beginning of the year. So I'm telling you, they're in a good position right now. All we want them to do right now is get a little bit more cohesive, balance off that offense so that the running game balances off the passing game. We're not looking for the passing game to balance off Todd Gurley. We know what he's capable of doing. So let's just get these receivers the ball, make the catches when you get the opportunities because they still are dropping balls. But more importantly, let's balance everything off. Let's get out here and get another win.
How about being creative with Tavon Austin? Because he's a playmaker. You just got to get the ball into his hands. Maybe, slot, running back. I mean, I don't know. Just get the ball into his hands and let him make some plays.
Well, my only issue about that is his size.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
When you start handing the ball off to a guy that size, he's taking a lot of hits that he normally won't ever get playing in the wideout position. So I understand creativity, but let's not go too fast because that's what we got Gurley for.
This is a playoff team, Greg? I mean, consider this. The Cardinals are struggling. So the NFC West, the 49ers are trending down. You've got Seattle, but you already beat Seattle. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you really think about it, the West is theirs to win.
Well, it's theirs to win, but more importantly, I think more than anything, I just want these guys to keep their mind on the game because if you start winning in L.A., you start seeing all the celebrities and you start doing this and you start doing that, and before you know it, you start losing.
And that's not
what they
don't want the distractions of Hollywood
distractions.
And the glitz and the glitter and all
distractions.
That. Did you guys have celebrities hanging around the team?
Magic was at every game,
Was
man.
he really?
Always there.
Actors?
Of course.
Musicians?
Yeah. You know what? I'll have one of them call in. I'll get some actors to call now.
All right, yeah. All right, when we come back, We're going to talk Raiders, Greg. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready, and we're going to talk legends.
We're going to talk with a legend. Yeah, Oakland Raider Morris Bradshaw, who's also part of the director, right, of their Legends community right now.
Definitely.
So we're going to talk with Morris Bradshaw when we come back on the Ford Legends Community Show presented by the Chumash Casino and Resort on AM830 KLAA.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on our new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
There's a new game in town. The all-new Chumash Casino Resort. Now bigger, bolder, and more luxurious than ever. Our grand expansion features a dramatic new 12-story hotel tower, spectacular rooftop pool, giant gaming floor, and more. Amazing things are happening at Chumash Casino Resort in the Santa Barbara wine country. The new game in town. Visit ChumashCasino.com.
This is Greg Bell, and I just left Las Vegas and the United Games World Launch Party for their new sports football app. This is the first football app of its kind that lets you interact and experience the game like no other sports fantasy game on the market today. This new sports app will be hitting the mobile market device in less than 4 weeks. If you want to be one of the first individuals to play this exciting new app, text APP to 66866. Again, text app to 66866.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on our new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
And welcome back to the Ford Legends Community Show presented by the Chumash Casino and Resort on AM830 KLAA. This guy is such a big star, we're not going to make him wait, Greg. We're going to go straight to Morris Bradshaw of the Raiders.
Morris, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Hey, of course, I wanted to get you on here on our Ford Legends Community Show here in Southern California. Want to talk a little Raiders, but more probably first and foremost, I want to tell people a little bit about your background. Played with the Raiders, have been in the front office, and tell me, am I wrong or right when I say this? You probably got the longest tenure with the I'm getting ready to say the L.A. Raiders, but the Oakland Raiders.
Well, Willie Brown is still here.
That's right. Willie's there as well.
I think Jim Otto is still listed as special projects here. But, it's been this was my 27th season. 27th season.
And now you're heading the Legends community for the team. And we every week we're bringing on Legends. That's one of the things we do. What was one of the purposes behind the Legend community when the NFL came up with that thought?
Well, their thought, as I understood it anyway, they being the league, was they viewed any player that has played in the NFL as a legend. Now, I guess here's where we're a little unique again, and being Raiders. Organizationally, we don't agree with that terminology. We understand why the league would. But here at the Raiders, we have and had legendary players.
Right.
And me personally, to be called a legend, alongside of a Willie Brown or a Fred Biletnikoff, it makes me uncomfortable. And I'm certainly not in that caliber. So we decided here with the Raiders that we're going to refer to our former players as alumni. And we understand, the difference when the league is talking about legends or whatever. We know who they're referring to, but internally here, we think it's important that those legendary players, those Hall of Famers, they get their just due. And again, I'm almost embarrassed to be mentioned in that's in the same voice. You get me. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Hey, Morris, Pep Fernandez here, and we've seen the reemergence of the Raiders this season and a really great young core that's very exciting. Do you see a lot of former Raiders coming out of the woodwork a little bit and kind of reconnecting with the team?
We are, and I think the reason being, what we're doing right now in a more organized fashion, I think and the word is getting out amongst the guys. They do still speak to one another, and I think what we have been doing has been very proactive. Two things that I've learned in the last year or so about former players. One is that most of us appreciate and enjoy being acknowledged. And our evidence to that is that, Greg, last year in 2015, we had our inaugural alumni weekend at training camp. And most of the responses that we got after the event were guys just thanking us for thinking about them, inviting them, acknowledging them.
Right.
The second thing that I've learned is that we all enjoy belonging to something. Mm-hmm. And it's no different than when we all played. Those two elements, in my opinion, are still very prevalent in the thinking of former players. So that those two pieces, I think, are becoming the cornerstone of what we're doing here.
Now, Morris, of course, we talked just briefly yesterday, and I kind of want to jump back to that point because, of course, you've been through this twice. You moved from Oakland to Los Angeles, and then you went back to Oakland from Los Angeles. And, of course, now the Rams are coming into Los Angeles after being gone for 21 years. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I told you is that I'm not sure how many of the fans truly know the Los Angeles Rams that are here now.
They probably don't. They relate, I would imagine, to the organization, but fans are fans. I would make the presumption that they're going to learn who these guys are and who these players are with the Rams in a very short period of time. I think they should be excited about what's getting ready to happen there with the new stadium, and it's a different league. The league is totally, in my opinion, the league is totally different today, 21 years later, than when the Rams left there. And so it will be interesting seeing, it's bringing back a lot of fond memories, I'm sure, for a lot of people, being back at the Coliseum and seeing the Rams out on the field in Ram uniforms. But that will change probably in 2 or 3 years when the new stadium opens, and it will be, in my opinion, it will be a different experience for the fans, much different from the experience that they remember at the Coliseum.
Well, Morris, there's certainly a buzz here in Southern California about the Rams being back, and especially because they're, I think, exceeding expectations at this point. But up in Oakland, is a lot of the conversation about where the Raiders will end up, what city, or about their great start this season and how well they're doing?
It's almost bittersweet. I think, equally talking about both. The success that this team has had to date with the winning record of 4-1, I think it's well, when you stop and look at where we've been, and to get us to where we are now. And the prospect of the team not playing here, I mean, historically, that's been a backdrop for a long period of time. And a year and a half ago, everyone had us convinced, had me convinced anyway, that we were going to be in Los Angeles, and I think we all know what happened there. So it's talk. We are paying attention to it. You have to. But by the same token, learning to live in the moment. And, what's going to happen is going to happen. We don't have any control over it. It's going to be unfortunate, I think, for the city of Oakland if this does come to pass, that there's a tremendous amount of history from players, from the teams in the Bay Area here that's going to be lost. And I think it's sad. Some people call it progress, but, life goes on. It is very sad and very unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, now, is there still the talk of moving this team to Las Vegas? Because Vegas is, I think they got a vote on in November for the property use and things of that nature. I've heard like 6 different properties in Las Vegas.
It's been narrowed down, and as we speak now, the Nevada State Senate yesterday approved the bill supporting the public contribution. It's my understanding that the next phase of that, starting today, went to the Nevada House of Representatives.
Okay.
And I guess they're debating it and discussing it, and should they vote in favor of the bill and pass it, then that piece then, as I understand it, would be presented to the NFL and to the NFL owners for their discussion and subsequent vote. So it is a process.
Definitely.
And as like anything else, there are those that are in favor of it for the reasons that they believe in, and there are those that are not in favor of it.
Mm-hmm.
We at the Raiders here, players in particular, we don't have the time to get caught up in that. We have a game coming up on Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a division game. And I would like to believe, and I would like to hope that that's where our focus is at right now. And it's and it's hard, not to pay attention. But again, we need to stay focused on on the football team and what we're doing here. And again, we have not had a lot of success here in a number of years, so it is exciting. I think I really commend the fans. Because they seem to have the same attitude. I'll take what's here right now,
right,
and we'll deal with whatever's going to happen next week when it happens.
Well, thank you, Morris. We'll have to stay tuned to that. But in the meantime, we'll certainly admire the Raiders' great start here, and we appreciate you taking the time. We know you're very busy for a couple minutes here on the Ford Legends Community Show.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Morris. Talk to you later.
Pleasure. Thank you.
That was great. Morris Bradshaw breaking down the Raiders. When we come back, more Rams talk, more NFL talk, right, Greg?
Yeah, we got to jump into it.
All right, we'll be right back here on the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on our new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
There's a new game in town. The all-new Shumash Casino Resort. Now bigger, bolder, and more luxurious than ever. Our grand expansion features a dramatic new 12-story hotel tower, spectacular rooftop pool, giant gaming floor, and more. Amazing things are happening at Shumash Casino Resort in the Santa Barbara wine country. The new game in town. Visit ShumashCasino.com.
This is Greg Bell, and I just left Las Vegas and the United Games World Launch Party for their new sports football app. This is the first football app of its kind that lets you interact and experience the game like no other sports fantasy game on the market today. This new sports app will be hitting the mobile market device in less than 4 weeks. If you want to be one of the first individuals to play this exciting new app, text APP to 66866. Again, text app to 66866.
When's the right time for a new car or truck? It's right now, because Ford will give you up to $5,000 cash on our new 2016 F-150 XLT with a great 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine.
$5,000. That's hard to believe.
Wait, there's more. That cash is added to the value of your trade-in, but it's only at your Ford dealer. Factory Trade Assist cash requires Ford credit financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Must trade in car or truck to qualify. Trade Assist cash not compatible with retail customer cash, bonus cash, or special APR offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/16. See dealer for details.
Hey, sports Sports fans, have you heard about United Games? It's the first live interactive sports app. You can win prizes, trips, and more by just playing this app for free. Do you want to play?
And welcome back to the Ford Legends Community Show here on AM830 KLAA. I'm Pep Fernandez.
And guys, I'm Greg Bell, and just as before, I'm still driving in my Ford, man, and I'm loving it. So get on over and see your local Ford dealer and take a test drive in these award-winning cars, trucks, and SUVs. To be a legend, you've got to be around, and that's where these Ford dealers, they've been a part of the community for years. I remember back in my playing days. So now I'm driving Energy Fusion, and I'm loving it each and every day. Get over and see them for a test drive. And Pep, you need to try it yourself.
I'm definitely going to, and I think Jim Everett, who we had on the show a little bit earlier, I think he was a little bit jealous, Greg, because he spends a lot of time in his car commuting, and he kept bringing up your Ford.
Yeah, and I let him drive the truck. I'm gonna have to do a truck one of these times, man.
Why not?
Yeah, big F-150, 250, like Earl said. Oh, big 350.
There you go. Yeah, Earl Campbell's a truck guy. We discovered that on the show a couple weeks ago. Well, welcome back to the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA, talking Rams, diving a little NFL talk as well. Rams and Lions. Did you know this, Greg? The Lions are the only team in the National Football League that has not given up a rushing touchdown.
Didn't know that.
Did you know that? I wouldn't have picked Detroit for that, run-stop defense.
Well, put it this way, if last week's game hadn't been played, they wouldn't have had to worry about that from the Rams.
That's right, man.
Gurley, of course, got his first rushing touchdown.
The first touchdown in the Los Angeles Coliseum. It only took 5 games, but they have 5 games total, a couple on the road, but they finally got one at home, and Todd Gurley was that guy to get it into the end zone. So Lions and then a trip to London. So the team's going to be away from Southern California for a long time. What's the logistics of that, Greg? Did you ever have any long road trips where you just, you went from one city to the next, didn't come back to the home base at all?
Yeah, people tend to forget that 1989 team. We actually had to go from, from Philadelphia back to L.A., and then we had a short week and had to go back, and that was after coming from New England. So we played New England, came home, went back, played Philly, came home, and then we had to go back to New York. So it was
why?
Yeah, it was back and forth, but that's not even the real big problem. You're looking at a Detroit team that's playing, better than we expected. Because I'm gonna tell you, I thought they would probably be 0-4.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to have the kind of start without a guy like Megatron. You lose probably one of the greatest wide receivers to play the game in that new kind of receiver body. That big body.
Big.
And
yeah.
He walks away from the game, and all of a sudden Matthew Stafford, he finds other receivers. So he's spreading the ball around, and they knew that probably was going to happen. He had to find a go-to guy. Golden Tate's still there doing his thing. Mm-hmm. But for them to play a good game against Detroit, the scary part about going to London is the fact that you got a long flight, guys. It's a long, tiresome flight, and then you got to get this game in a matter of like 6 days because you really lose a day going over there.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you don't get the same schedule. You got a long flight. You got a lot of, jet lag, as they call it. And that's going to be interesting for the Rams as well as it is for the Detroit. But you got to remember, Detroit's flying about 6 hours less than we're flying because they're already far east already.
Jeff Fisher, the head coach of the Rams, has kind of addressed this already, their trip over there. And they have a plan in place already. I guess all good teams and coaches do that. I think they're going to fly over there, and they're going to try to keep the guys awake, so their bodies get kind of on in the same time zone. So
people come up with these great scenarios. I'm going to tell you the best thing they probably could do is take what's those things called, like an Ambien or whatever, and sleep for 15 hours and just sleep. Once you land, go to sleep. Because I can remember when I got over there, we flew to London twice during my NFL career, and I flew to Tokyo twice. And so you play it, but it was during what we call the preseason. It was a prep. It was an exhibition game
in Tokyo.
Yeah,
Who did you play in Tokyo?
Oh man, now you're making me start.
Or where did you play in Tokyo?
We played in the Tokyo Dome. What are you talking about? Notre Dame. When I was in college, we played in the Tokyo Dome.
Who did you play over there?
When I was in college, we played University of Miami and beat the living crap out of them. And they play good football over in Tokyo. They got an American Football League over there.
All right.
So, like I told you, the game of American football is love. It's global. It's global. And, I forgot to ask Morris, why didn't Mark Davis send me an invitation so I could fly down to Mexico City with the Raiders?
There you go.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. And then, Cronkey, you can send me a ticket. I'll go over to London, too.
You'll represent both teams. You have a cup of coffee with the Raiders.
Definitely. So it's going to be interesting. You can have whatever kind of plan you want to have for going to Europe. It doesn't work. That's all I can tell you. I've done the cross-country flights. You can come up with any plan. Really, the biggest thing I would probably tell them is when they get over there, you can do your best to try and keep them awake. But you know what? These guys are accustomed to staying up late at night. They're accustomed to sleeping odd hours. Let their bodies rest for a day or two. You just got to let them rest because that flight is a long flight, man. It's a long flight.
And these international games, Greg, I mean, they're not going to end because the National Football League obviously wants to spread the game as far as they can around the globe. So London, Mexico City, I mean, who knows? We've seen college football games down in Australia. So this is going to be a pattern, obviously, going forward, that there's going to be games all over the planet, and this is just something that NFL players will have to just get used to.
And the worst thing for Jeff Fisher, and you got to think this is going through his mind, why am I talking about London today?
Yeah.
We got to deal with the Detroit Lions, and they got to make the flight, which is a 5-hour flight from here to Detroit. They got to do that first and get a win there. And I would assume if I'm the Rams, I didn't hear his plans altogether, but I would assume they would just leave from Detroit.
Yeah,
there's no reason to come back here. So now you're really talking about being away from your family for 2 weeks. And that was one of the beauties. I tell people all the time, basketball, baseball, you travel all the time. The beauty about the National Football League is we only travel 2 days out of a week. And then sometimes we get 2 or 3 weeks of breaks when you got 3 home games. So, it's not a heavy travel. And so most of these guys have to get acclimated to that because most of them don't do that much traveling.
Jeff Fisher said that you're right. They're going to leave Detroit, head over to Europe. He's planning to have his coaches on the plane start breaking down the Giants and getting ready for that game. And in the process, like I said, trying to keep his players awake so when they land, I guess it'll be like daytime and they need to be awake so their bodies kind of get used to that time zone. So it'll be interesting. Like you said, give them a couple days to kind of figure it out.
It actually is going to be late Monday evening by the time they get there because I would assume they finish the game around 4 or 5. They'll board the plane around 8. Actually,
a red eye?
It might actually be Tuesday when they get there, when you think about it, because by the time they leave Detroit and get to London, I want to say it's like a 10-hour or 12-hour ahead of us.
Yeah.
So if they leave and it's already 12 in the morning on Monday, they're not getting in there till late Monday night, and then, man, it's Tuesday before you know it. So, yeah, let's just focus on the Lions right now and get a big win there.
All right, so the Rams have the Lions, and then it's the Giants. And I thought Jim Everett brought up a great point that if there's Southern California New York Giant fans, they don't get to see Odell Beckham Jr. or Eli Manning because this is technically a Rams home game. Is that right, Greg?
Yeah, it's technically a Rams home game, but I have to be honest with you. I love watching the game live, but, we don't have a jumbotron of any nature. When you don't have replays, it takes the fun out of the game some days. So guess what? I'm going to enjoy propping my feet up, putting them on the coffee table, have my feet, my food right where I need it, and I'm going to enjoy watching that game on the tube.
Are you getting up early?
Oh,
is that like a 6 a.m. kickoff?
It's like a 6 a.m. kickoff. I get up early anyway.
I was saying you
I
do.
tell you,
Why are you sending me emails and texts at like 5 in the morning?
Because I'm up. Some of us aren't young. The metabolism isn't there. I got to burn my calories as soon as I get up.
Oh, my goodness. We got to thank former Rams quarterback Jim Everett for joining us here on the show, as well as former Raider legend, although he's alumni. He pointed that out, Morris Bradshaw, for taking some time. He's a very busy man, but he joined us here on the show. And, of course, our very fine sponsors, Ford, Chumash Casino, and United Games. You want to thank Ford one more time? You rolled in a Ford. You rolled deep in the Ford, Greg.
Guess what? These legendary Ford dealers of Southern California, they want to see you in there today. So when you get done listening to the show today, like every Sunday, Monday morning through the rest of the week, go by a Ford dealer, take a test drive in these award-winning hybrid cars they have. Not only do they have the Fusion, Pep, they also got the Focus. And jump in one of these great cars. Let them take you on a test drive. They've been a part of the community for years. That's why they're legends, and that's why they're here on the Ford Legends Show.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have Ford on board for sure. For Greg Bell, I'm Pep Fernandez, and we'll see you next week with the Ford Legends Community Show on AM830 KLAA.